It's an honor for me to lead the first and second plenary talk for our conference, annual conference on education and social sciences. Our first plenary speaker for today is Dr. Sook Fern. She is currently a Deputy Dean, Research and Industrial Collaboration, and also a senior lecturer in the Multimedia University in Malacca. I have a special memory when I came to know that Dr. Sook Fern is coming from Malacca, because Malacca is the first place in Malaysia that I visited around 20 years ago, and very historical, and they call it Malacca Bandaraya Bersejarah. Yeah. So there were many historical building places in Malacca that I know. Today, just short introduction for Dr. Sook Fern. She got her first degree in business administration, Multimedia University in Malaysia, and also her master degree in business administration from Multimedia University in Malaysia. And she obtained her PhD in service innovation, University of Science Malaysia, I think it's in Penang. And she published numerous publications so far, over 62 that I've observed from internet. And it's an honor for us in our Access conference to have Dr. Sook Fern to give her lecture. I think the lecture is concerning about online selling during the pandemic in Malaysia. It's very interesting. Now I would like to invite Dr. Sook Fern to deliver her speech. Dr. Sook Fern, time is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. All right, a very good morning to every one of you here. All right, if you are from other country, good afternoon and good evening. All right, I'm Sook Fern from the Multimedia University under the Faculty of Business. Right, so I'm happy that you have been to Malacca, Mr. Moderator. I hope that you'll be able to drop by Malacca campus again in the year to come. All right, after the pandemic. So without further ado, all right, let me share with you my research work. Let me share my screen. All right, can you all see my screen? So I'm going to share with you my research work on the role of food apps servitization on repurchase intention, a study of FoodPanda. So basically, this research work is led by me, and together with 3 other researchers from Uniscience Malaysia, Penang, all right, another student of mine, all right, Mr. Teo Shen Long, and also in collaboration with Professor Tan Kim Hwa from University of Nottingham, UK. So we know that food is one of the important things for us to move on, especially during the pandemic. And moreover, all right, the new trend now is we are using the term called servitization. So what is it all about? So basically what we see here is, we know that, right, smartphone applications have been growing very fast. Even like in every second, you will see there's a new apps on your Play Store, all right, which you can purchase or download it for free. And most of the time, companies nowadays, they are embracing the new concept. I know them as platform service supply chain. Now, businesses nowadays is not just simply just a supply chain, but there must be a platform, all right, for us as a servicer or a business unit to supply this particular product so that it can reach the end user. So the growth of these mobile apps actually play a very important role. And basically it has actually give an opportunity, all right, to all the businesses, especially during the pandemic for at least 2 years now. So you can see in the yellow box that I prepared, all right, a basic statistics data that I got it, the latest data, all right, which is just released in October 2021. Online food delivery segment itself, the food delivery segment itself, I'm not talking about the food industry, but it's the food delivery segment itself, all right, have a number of expected users that will reach 2,638.1 million users by the year 2025. And the user that penetrate the whole online food delivery system, whether it is through the web-based or through your mobile apps, is 23.1% in 2021, meaning to say that by the end of December, this percentage will be achieved. Therefore, from this particular statistics, all right, you will know that this research is of importance to all the business unit, not only now, but the year to come. And in Malaysia alone, all right, we found that approximately 75% of Malaysians, okay, they are in favor of using FoodPanda delivery apps as compared to GrabFood and some others, all right? So in view of this increasing demand, of this food ordering through the web or the apps, okay, the product service system is very important. All right, this product service system, not only selling product, but in combination of the service that you are going to combine and create the value to the end user or customer like you and me. And therefore, we know this as servitization. So basically, servitization is whereby company, all right, they need to focus not only on the product that they're selling, but on how to enhance their services. So product plus services. That's where this new term called servitization is appearing in our mind or in our Google search nowadays. Okay, so in global market, all right, if you look at the global market and researchers from the international arena, most of the time we are focusing on the research about online buying behavior, but not much actually focus on the food apps servitization. All right, I'm not talking about food apps delivery alone, but we are focusing on the servitization. So therefore, our research, all right, my research with my team member is we try to bridge the gap and we want to spearhead, all right, to investigate on the factors that can influence consumer purchasing intention towards the role of food apps servitization in Malaysia. So I hope that you all can adopt this study in Indonesia as well in the near future. Okay. So basically, this is my research model where I have identified 6 variables. Okay. So basically, I'm using the TAM model or the TAM theory. So there is 6 hypotheses being developed from this study. And it's very interesting to know what is the result. Let me bring you through, okay? So you can see from here, basically, we are using questionnaire method where I'm using quantitative study, okay? And the sampling method is purposive sampling. Why purposive sampling? Is because I already know who I want to investigate. All right, who I want to investigate, and the minimum sample size that actually I need, all right, to collect for this study, according to G power is 146, but we managed to collect 302 questionnaires, all right? So we managed to collect that. And of course, my unit analysis means the person that are eligible, all right, to be included in my study are those aged 18 and above, and they must be the users of these FoodPanda delivery apps, and they must also be Malaysian. And of course, this study, I adapted and adopted the questionnaires from various scholars. So you can see these are the sources and these are the variables and the number of measurement items. So in total, all right, for the respondent to answer this questionnaire, all right, there are 30 questions that they need to answer beside those demographic questions, okay? So I would say that the response rate is quite good, where we managed to gain the response rate of 89%. And of course, the first question in my questionnaire is the screening question. It is important to have a screening question in whatever research that we are going to do. Because if, let's say, we don't have the screening question, you just distribute to anybody, your data will not be accurate. The screening question is always important before your question about demographic or before you actually examine the variables that you want to research on. So in this study, we have the screening question called, do you use FoodPanda app platform for food delivery service? Now, if the respondents say no, so they can't proceed in answering the rest of the 30 measurement items that I stated just now. All right. So from this study, I found that 57.2%, all right, are female respondents and 42.8% are the male respondents. I think this is quite common, all right, where most of the time the ladies are the one, you know, making the decisions for the family when they are placing food order through these particular apps, all right. And of course, from these whole studies, okay, more than 2/3, all right, of the respondents are aged between 18 to 24, and 66.8% of them are active sought food delivery via FoodPanda, meaning to say that this group of people are very actively in one day, all right, they will place orders through food apps about minimum 3 times, okay? The maximum number that we saw from our research, right, surprisingly, is 6 times a day they are using these particular apps, right? So I find that this is very interesting. I'm curious also, what are the things that they order in a day, 6 times a day, all right? Okay, so this is the hypothesis result. And interestingly, you realize that effort expectancy, information quality, perceived risk are not supported. All right, reason basically why perceived risk is not supported is because most of these respondents, they are very well versed with the apps. All right, they have the trust towards the apps. Because they trust the apps, that's why they find that there's no risk for them at all. Basically, you will see that these are the 3 non-supportive: expectancy, information quality, and perceived risk. Because respondents nowadays, or consumers nowadays, are very knowledgeable, right? Because thanks to the internet, they have already surveyed everything before they decide to download their apps or use that particular services. Okay, so it's very interesting to see this. And I'm not only focusing on this hypothesis testing, I also further, all right, actually research on this by using IPMA. All right, what is IPMA? So basically, IPMA is Importance Performance Matrix Analysis Result. Okay, I'm using PLS. All right, so sometimes when you're doing research in the future, okay, having just the hypothesis result will not be sufficient enough, but you want to enhance further to see whether it's true or not that it is not supported, or you know, it is supported. So IPMA will help you to enhance further, all right? Will help you to enhance further. Why I say so is because from IPMA, you will know which variable is of importance for the organization and which one is least important, all right? And should we focus on the important one or the least important one? Now, I throw the question to all of you now here. Maybe you can type it in the chat box, okay? Do you think as an organization or as a marketer or the business person, you should focus on the more important variable or the least important variable? Feel free to type in the chat box, all right? So here, I'm going to explain to you. In this IPMA map, I call it the IPMA map, you will see that, all right, your x-axis is the importance, all right, of the variable, and your y-axis is the performance of the variables, okay? So when we have this map, okay, that we always have the central line, which is at the 0, all right? So whatever is less than 0, that means it's negative, is considered least important. So from this graph, can you tell me which one is the least important based on this graph? Just feel free to type in the chat box, okay? Which one is the least important if you look at this? Yes, perceived risk is the least important. Therefore, as a business person, all right, as an entrepreneur or even as a marketer, we should less focus on the one that is least important, all right, because this is least important and they are not performing as well, okay, for this variable. So company should focus more on those variables that is performing, that is important for the organization. For example, looking at this part here, we have 4 variables. Okay, the one that perform the highest and the most important is perceived usefulness, meaning to say that consumer find that this app is very useful. It has actually helped them a lot, ease their burden a lot. All right, but among these variables, the company should focus the most is on building the trust further. Even though we say that consumer have the trust already, but if you look at this, all right, all these 4 are important. But in terms of performance-wise, trust is among the lowest among these 4 variables. All right, so companies should think of a strategy how to push this trust, all right, even higher so that you can boost the repurchase intention. Now, if you look at this trust here, the importance is about 0.23, meaning to say that with every increment, all right, of the performance, okay, you will increase the trust of the customer of 0.23 towards their repurchase intention. Now, repurchase intention means that they have purchased the product and they will want to buy again, or they will recommend their friend to buy again. All right, so from this graph, okay, organizations should focus more on trust, to push trust to even higher performance, because it is important, but the performance is still lower compared to the rest of the variable. So you can see that it is quite aligned in the sense that, all right, why I say it's aligned with this result here, you will see that perceived risk is not supported, right? And it's really show here that why it's not supported, because it's less important. So IPMA is good to be used so that we can enhance further, all right, to confirm that our hypothesis is correct, okay? So in conclusion, of course, we know that this research, all right, it will help in the sense that the organizer or the organization, consumer, or as well as a company, they can have a better understanding, all right? And also they will be able to engage customer, all right, in achieving what we call servitization. In modern business world, no longer about just selling product and full stop. No, all right. It must be a continuous thing. Why? Because you want to enhance the customer loyalty. All right. So the most important here is for us to create value proposition. Same thing in education line also, we want to enhance and make sure that we achieve value proposition, because that is the main criteria or objective of every organization, all right? So this study, all right, the result can serve as a guideline for the existing food delivery company, or even for those that plan to, you know, come up with a new service through the apps. It's good that they read through this paper and they will learn what are the important variables, especially in the Malaysian market, all right? So to comprehend this, all right, of course, I will suggest that you all can adopt my model and do the study on any of the food delivery company in your country in Indonesia. It's good to know. All right, you can just do a case study on one particular company. And of course, the concept of food app servitization is direct and indeed substantial, all right, for all the businesses, whereas it can enhance customer engagement. That's why you realize that if you're using FoodPanda, right, they engage you in such a way that, you know, every time you purchase according to their category, they will give you one stamp. You collect the stamp, you manage to convert the stamp into point, and using the point, you can see whether you can win any voucher award or not. This is called engagement, all right? In the business unit, it's important, okay? So for future research also, I plan that we can go for focus group interview. That means use a mixed mode. Nowadays, we try to use mixed mode. That means quantitative and qualitative. Collecting questionnaire, plus we can interview 5 to 10 people, all right, in a group, so that we can have more in-depth understanding about their thinking and the thoughts, rather than just focus on what they have ticked in the questionnaire. Okay, so I also currently, I've expanded this study. What I'm doing now is I'm still collecting data for my next project, which is I'm studying on drone food delivery service. Have you heard about drone? Okay, currently I'm collecting the data for this. Hopefully, all right, hopefully I will be able to present that drone food delivery service in your next SS 2022, so that we will see, all right, what is the difference between the apps and the drone food delivery service. So basically from this study, all right, I've published, okay, the findings, in the International Journal of Production Economics, which is a tier 1, Q1 paper, all right, have been published. So if you want to know more detail about this, please welcome to read this paper. All right, so that's all from me. Thank you very much. I hope that now you have the idea of what is servitization, and I hope that we can work together as well using this concept model, all right, to study on the food delivery services in Lombok. All right, so Mr. Moderator, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Yeo, Sook Fern. That very interesting talk, clear for many of us. But we will go to question and answers session after the second presenter.
Sure.